Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. It depends on your time zone today. Thanks for joining us in Out of the Box Developer. So, this session will be a really nice one. We're going to talk about lots of good stuff about how we can plan our developer year. And this today is a anniversary of Out of the Box Developer, so it's a festive date for us. Okay, I will call out my friends here, our best friends. The first one, our Java champion and data science, Manny. Hello, Manny.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Pedro?
Thank
Good to
you.
see you. Good to see you after 2 weeks.
Yeah, good to see you too. Unfortunately, don't have Hugo today for the host, but yeah, I'm trying. I will try my best. Okay.
I think you're doing. I think you're going to do fine. Hugo is also very good, so you get a chance as well to be the host. Um, yeah, I think you kicked off very well. This is the 1 year anniversary event. I remember pretty much a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, Bruno and I got together in January, and we decided to do something together. We came up with the name Out of the Box Developer, which Hugo has actually branded and whatnot. He's made a mascot, and he's taken it all the way to to the next level. But Bruno and I, we decided we want to do some podcasts together and maybe have it bi-monthly, like twice a month, if possible. And it just started off as an idea. Sometimes we weren't able to do it twice a month, and here it is, 1 year anniversary. We've had, this is the 17th session if we count from the first one, and so we had 16 sessions together. So I'm really excited to be here. And yeah, and also there is another event that I also want to talk about, but I will wait for our guests to come online, and then we can all share that event. I will also be sharing some videos and some links of different things that we have recorded in the last year or so. So there's a lot of resources that I'd like to share. And so I think it's going to be a great event. It's amazing how so many people got together and contributed to it. The community has been really great because we couldn't be coming here and talking and doing things if we didn't have the support from the community. And so I'm really thankful for that. I'm also thankful for Bruno for putting his time aside to you know come here every 2 weeks, spend more than an hour, because we also have some prep work that we do before we even have this session, and he's also participating in that. And then came Hugo, and Hugo really kicked it off. He has been a great support because Bruno suddenly became very busy after a few sessions in the beginning, and so Hugo has been running this almost 9 to 10 months, along with the help of everybody else. Here's Pedro back. I thought there was a little bit of a technical glitch, but I tried to cover up for you by filling in with some words. I hope it does justice for the short intermission.
For sure. Thank you, Manny. I was having a technical issue. See, I don't know exactly why. It's raining a lot today here, so maybe it's because of that. For
Okay.
for sure, I could hear most of what you're talking. And yeah, perfect. So, well, let me invite our guest. Uh, guest she's a Java software engineering. She works with the in the meteorology domain, and she is our very very good friend here, Chila. Hello, Chila.
Oh, hello, Pedro. Hello, Mani.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. So I am very glad to be here today, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today. And I'm looking forward to it,
You're
to a
welcome.
great
Glad to
conversation
have
with
you here.
you.
Yeah, very glad to have you here. So, Manny, do you want to start the talk? Do you want to start with some of your resources here? You say you send here a
Sure. Yes.
video.
So
What do you want
yes,
first?
I wanted to I want to share some resources as well, but I also want to dedicate this session not just as a 1 year anniversary, but also when we did this session a year ago, we unknowingly came up with a theme called biomimicry, and you will see that in the video and the resources we share. Now, also, which is it was not to our knowledge at that time during the week we had this session. Around that time, sadly, the thought leader who was behind this, who's one of the thought leaders behind biomimicry, who we had also quoted in our session and shared a lot of her work in our session, she actually passed away peacefully. And so this is also, and this week is actually, yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of her passing, and we actually shared a lot of her work in our very first session. So the basis of our very first session was a lot of her work. She has given some talks, and she's spoken about a lot of different things that overlaps with technology and other things that's happening, science and technology that's happening all around us. And so I think it's quite touching, because so many things fall in place in terms of date and time and events, and also the material that we used was also a part of her work. So it all coincides, and this week marks her 1 year anniversary of her passing. So I also want to, that's why, share some more resources about her. And so I'll be sharing in two batches. One of them is a post written by her followers, and a video which also talks about her work, and what she's been doing, and just a very short last, maybe it was recently shot just before she passed away. Um, and and also there is this tweet that we have related to biomimicry. So if you can share these with the community, they can really see what actually is going on with so that's the link to her talk. She gave a talk on O'Reilly, on a O'Reilly conference. You can see the year it was. It's been, I posted in 2022, but actually the talk was given way before that, because there was a short pause with pandemic, and the talk is still very relevant, and it's great content. So for those who have access to O'Reilly, they can actually have a look at that. So there's one more link I want to share about her, and that is this video uh, of the conference. And so these are all the material we were sharing during our presentation. And this was also the time when we found out, only much later, that she actually passed away. And so I'm sharing this material now that marks her 1 year anniversary, but also marks a one year anniversary of our work. So it's quite a coincidence, but also quite touching. So that's what I wanted to say to kick off. And yes, the rest of the materials you can already see, shared by uh, on our videos and our website, and on our Twitter handle. Yes, so there are some more links here which talk about her after she has passed away. So she has got a lot of supporters and followers, and they have actually created a video and a blog post to commemorate her, and to remember her her time when she was here with us, and the work she did and what she shared with the rest of the community. So you can imagine, O'Reilly is actually a tech conference, but her work is really non-tech. She's working with nature, and she's actually mapping a lot of the processes that happen in nature with the processes that happen in the world of science and technology, especially computers and the modern day technical advancements and innovations. So that's actually all I have. Towards the end, I have something else as well, but I'll only talk about it at that time. But this is a great one to share in the beginning. And so we remember her, remember our first event, and it couldn't have been possible without our great Bruno, who's at large or hiding somewhere, maybe somewhere in the backstage. We should probably bring him forward if that's possible. We're not able to hear you, Pedro. Maybe there's a bit of a mute.
Hey, Manny.
For sure.
Hey,
Sorry.
Bruno. How are you?
I'm doing
Hello,
good, man.
Bruno.
So, yes, it is, man. A touching moment, right? That we're actually doing 1 year of this effort here, and it really started with the idea of being out of the box, right? Actually, the whole name of this program comes from comes from her, right? Because you brought the whole idea of being out of the box from her books, from her work, right? And so
Yeah.
it is a good moment. So I mean, it's a touchy moment. That's how I said, right? So
It is, isn't it? And so many things
up.
overlap. And we did it unknowingly as well, because when we did this program 4th of February 2022, I remember the exact date because it was Chinese New Year last year. Just that week, we didn't know she passed away peacefully, but we were also sharing her work just around that time when she
Right.
was, and she was not ill or anything. She just, naturally passed away. They haven't shared the details of it. Maybe it's written on a blog post or a video, but then just after, and I only found out recently, like a couple of months ago, I found out, if you remember last year, during December, when we were having our Christmas session, I found out that actually early January, maybe even, that actually she passed away last year, and it was also around the time when we started a session, and it's going to be 1 year. So it kind of adds to the theme as well for today. So I mean, great journey, I will say. This is our 17th session, 16 great sessions with lots of different members of the community, helped by members of the community. So I'm really really happy to be here and excited, and we didn't think of having 16 plus sessions in 1 year, did we, Bruno? With all the busy schedule and everything happening ad hoc.
Yeah, well, but here we are, man. Here we are, and I know we started this with a touching moment, but but I think that Max is saying here it's amazing to be here attending our birthday, right? So we're actually celebrating our birthday, and that's a celebration moment, right? And
Absolutely.
So, yes. So that's why it's amazing to be here, and I'm so glad that Tila was able to join us here today to celebrate our birthday, right? So every time we're bringing some interesting people to come and talk about here, people from the community, people that are doing good stuff, developers that think outside the box, right? So one more time here for us to be here. So thanks a lot, Tila, for being here with us.
Thanks for the opportunity. And
all right. So Nikita says, happy birthday, friends. So thanks, Nikita. Nikita's kind of learning Portuguese a little bit, right? And there's not something behind me, Nikita. There's someone behind me, right? He's just watching right there, right? So okay. All right, guys. So I think we have some good topics today, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think Pedro is going to shed some light on it. He's been talking and thinking about it since a couple of weeks. So, over to you, Pedro,
Yeah,
and drivers and
for
steerers
sure.
to say things.
Yeah, as we are here in an anniversary moment, so it's like we are starting a new year here. So we thought about how talk about planning our the developer year. Like, we are all developers, and then we always need to think about our careers, how during when we are starting a year, what we're gonna do this year, what will be our objectives for this year. So how do we organize our year to get to these objectives, to get our targets. So this is a very important moment here, and of course it's very important to think of which objective we're gonna have. Like, so and it, of course, it depends on where we are in our career, where we want to be in our career. So, well, and there is lots to discuss about it. So let's start from the beginning. Let's talk about objectives. and I think Bruno can be one of our best person to talk about objective today, right, Bruno?
Yeah, I think all the points we have in mind for today's conversation, Bruno's going to ace it because he does this in his sleep.
No, so one thing I want to hear from you, right? There's lots of people watching us here. So from you, when you think about your ear, right? So you and imagine the good question I like to ask people, guys, is imagine we are a year from now, right? So everyone here, imagine it's a year from now, right? And imagine we meet again, maybe here at the Out of the Box Developer, or we meet at maybe we meet in London, right? We're in Money's house, right? So we're all here. So what needs to happen this year for you that watching us here? What needs to happen this year for when we meet a year from now, maybe in Money's apartment in London, for you to tell us, guys, since the Out of the Box Developer that you talked, my career has been amazing. It has been the best year of my life, right? So if you could imagine that, what would that be? So write for us in the chat, right? Tell us right there in the chat, what would be an amazing thing that you would tell us in the end of the year that happened to you this year, like a concrete thing. So what would that be, right? You gave a talk in a big event. You got a new job. Your salary, you got a raise in your salary. You got a promotion. Anything. What happened, right? So how about we start with that from us here, right? So who wants starts? People tell me that's a hard question to say, right? And so it's a hard question. So what would you say, Pedro, or you, Manny, or you, Tila? Who wants to start?
Do you want to start, Chila?
Yes, there are a lot of opportunities that could happen this year. So I was also thinking about it, what should be amazing this year. And of course, I was thinking about Bruno's tool. Bruno has an amazing tool to help me to plan the next year. And I was using his tool to think about my goals, and I was able to define concrete goals for me, because in my profession I would like to adjust the direction a little bit. And of course, this does not happen from very fast. So I just defined some steps how to get there. And one of the things I would like to emphasize this year is sharing. So preparing more articles or blogs, developing my blogs, and also sharing, probably be more frequent with newsletters and things like that, and also probably giving something to the community. And what would be amazing as well, I was just thinking about my experience last year at TDC. So I was coordinating a TDC in Brazil, and this is one of my goals, to repeat it and do it again. So being a coordinator, because it was a fascinating experience. So I have a lot of goals, and I need to try to find a path, find a way how to get there. So a lot of steps to make.
Awesome.
That's great. That's awesome, right?
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nikita says this question is better than what on earth have I spent my last year on, right? Well, I like to talk about. Yeah, I want to hear Pedro and Manny, right? So, but Nikita has some things about what he wants to do this year, right? So, but yes, no, I like to think about Nikita. I like to think about the last year too, right? In the beginning of the year, it's good to first think about last year, not because first to bash ourselves and the things that we didn't do, any of that. No, none of that. The thing that I love to do is to do one thing that's that we call, the low hanging opportunities, right? because there's a lot of things that you wanted to do last year, and maybe not a lot, but a few, right, that you wanted to do last year, and that you almost did, right? You got almost to the point, you just missed one thing. So, for example, you wanted to publish your first blog, so you have a draft of it hanging out somewhere in your computer, but you never publish. Or you wanted to give a talk, right? So you actually prepared a talk. You even wrote a submission, sent to some events, but you never got to approve it, right? There's always this little thing that you're almost there, right? And you could just finish it, right? You could just spend a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days, and finish it and get that one thing done, right? So and then you complete, right? You get one easy success right away, right? And so that's one thing that I like to do when the new year starts, right? So maybe that's one thing we could do here, Manny, in the out of the box developers. There's something that we almost did it that we wanted to do, and we could just finish. Maybe having the logo of the out of the box developer here, right? So that would be, it's almost right. So we could just finish that and get it done and be happy about it, right?
Yeah, or maybe the opening or a closing splash screen that that comes out for the last 30 seconds,
right?
Like a little bit of an upgrade from what we already have. What we have is good, but it can get more. It can become more native and more. Right. It can relate more to the show, to the event, as opposed to just being a digital timer that goes on for 30 seconds.
And so, interesting enough, we did that, right? We did that. We're starting a new year now, but previous 2 sessions, right? We collected all the questions, all the discussion that we never finished, right? And we did that. We finished those discussions so we can actually start fresh in the new year, right?
Fresh in the new year, yeah, absolutely.
We just did that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
In the last sessions, we have lots of good discussions here. We had it was when I started here. I can say, I think I can, if I can say something, something that I get last year. It was to be here with you guys. So I think for me it was fantastic. I got only the last 3 months, I can say, but I feel that this is amazing. Here is an amazing opportunity to discuss and get more info and share. Like Sila said, we are here to try to share something we have that with anybody who want to listen to us here. So that's getting these questions was fantastic because we could focus on something that our audience is interested to listen. So this was fantastic. But for my year, I think I answered the Bruno's question. I could say there are lots of things that I started this year that I need to continue this next year, and not only start but make it persevere with it, with all this, maintain the steps, getting more frequent in writing something, sharing something, or studying for our current jobs and work on that inside our companies as well. I talked to Bruno that I had opportunity to start sharing inside the company with some internally with the guys, and I didn't start it yet. So it's something, oh my God, why I didn't start it yet? Something that I could do in my current job. That's all this stuff that we need to put in our objective and say, well, I can do this, and I can do this as fast as I can, right?
Right. Cool. Okay, so
very well said. Very well said.
But one thing, I'm still waiting for people in the audience, right? But one thing that I want to focus on, right? Because it's very easy for us to start planning, right? Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, right? And I'm going to continue to do what I'm already doing, right? Yeah, but I like to call this the career TDD, right? Or task-driven career, TDC. Oh, TDC is already another thing.
TDC we already have, right?
TDC is already developed, but no. Task-driven career, right? So instead of you planning what you're going to do to get there, what is the result? What are you going to tell us that happened, right? So that's what I want to hear. Come on, Max, tell us. Nikita already gave an answer there. So tell us what you want to have happen that you're going to tell us, right? So that thing already happened. Let's imagine a year from now, what are you going to tell that happened for you, right? So Nikita says, that he got some alternative cash flows without leaving his current job. So that's a great thing, right? You see, that's something that either he has some alternative cash flow or he does not, right? So that either the test pass or fails, right? Now, Nikita, it would be nice to do that. That would be great. But how much cash flow do you want, right? Do you want to have like 10% of your salary, half of your salary, the same amount that you make in your salary? How much that would be make you happy, right? Because it's different things, right? If you're planning, like, if I just want to have a little bit of money, maybe I could do a trip, for example, or I could pay to go to a conference. And if I just get, that's one effort you're going to be doing, right? But if you really want, look, I want to make half of what I'm making because I'm gonna get ready to eventually quit my job, for example. That's a different discussion, right? So if you wanna add to that, Nikita, that would be nice. 20%, he's already said, would be already good enough. Okay, so 20%, right? So 20% of that is a very good thing, right? It's not just about the money, right? It's about starting the cash flow, starting a secondary income, right? So yes, I understand. It's perfectly not just about the money. That's good, Nikita. So 20%, man, that's what we want. That's plenty. You imagine what you want, right? Okay, cool. How about you, Manny? Do you want to start with? Do you want to say something that you want to have happen?
Yeah. So basically, let's say a year from now, when I meet fictitiously or in reality, all of you, some of you, maybe a whole different group of people, and maybe one of you is present in there, I would be saying like, look, in 2022, there were many things I started, and they're actually started to fructify and become accomplishments for me in 2023. And now it's 2024, and I'm hoping that consistency is maintained, and things that I started in 2023, I'm hoping to accomplish in 2024. But also in 2023, I have been mentoring people, sharing my knowledge on various podcasts, and I have been, like, for example, I'm part of a Google driven data science machine learning mentorship program that's been running since December last year. It'll be running for another couple of months. But I'm also like mentoring unofficially as well, like, informally. I'm trying to be on podcasts like this, which is of course co-run by us. But then there's another event that I'm also co-hosting, um, and I'm trying to share my knowledge and experience, and I have been in 2023, and I will continue to do so in 2024. Of course, the audience will have to be a serious audience, and they need to be interested and passionate about their goals and careers, and I'm happy to help them and share my 20 plus years of experience with them, provided they're willing to also openly listen to it and observe and pick and choose what really applies to them. So I mean, this is something I would have to share. And maybe by 2024, there'll be probably more things to share than I can now envision. Because, as you know, a year passed by and we've had 16 sessions under our belt, and 16 sessions, 1.5 hours each, roughly, because our sessions usually are for an hour, but we give an extra 30 minutes bonus because the audience is so great and gives us all the trigger points to continue with the sessions. We know we don't feel tired; we just feel more energized to continue with it. So, can you imagine 16 sessions? It's almost 1.5 sessions a month in a year's time, with a busy schedule we all have, especially Bruno, who's now become a special guest in the last 6 months because he doesn't find the time to come to his own show. So you can imagine.
Show. It's all of us show, right?
Yeah. Well, you're a co-founder, right? You co-owned, co-created this with us. So it is your show as well. So yeah. So that's kind of going to be my 2024 when I meet all of you, some of you, or another group of people, and talk about how my 2023 went.
Nice. Okay, cool. So Andres Alcahaz, actually, we should be putting this in the show. I forgot, right? So Andres Alcahaz is saying that I have gone to a Java event. That's awesome, Andres. Right? So Andres, you want to go to a Java event as an attendee? You want to go to a Java event as a speaker? You want to go to a Java event as helping to organize the event? What would be your big dream, Andres? Because I love this, right? I love that's very concrete from all of us. Andres was the one that's very concrete, right? And Nikita as an attendee. Okay, so Andres, here is a secret for you, right? You can first of all, you should come to the developers conference, right? Because the developers conference is you can participate from anywhere because it's a hybrid event, so you can participate online, and you have a free ticket, right? So that is that's so that at least that event, Andres, you can come and participate, right? And we're gonna have the developers conference in no, there's gonna be several in Portuguese. We're gonna have one in Spanish because it's gonna be in Mexico, right? And that's the secret that no one can say anything about right now. But I'm working on something in English for the developers conference, right? I'm not gonna say what it is right now, right? But something's gonna be in English for the developers conference this year, right? So we're gonna have Andres. I don't know where you're from, Andres, but if you speak Portuguese, Spanish, or English, right? And so you're gonna be able to participate on the developers conference, right? So that's gonna be
Amazing.
awesome, right? So yeah, or DevVox,
Yeah.
right? You can participate on DevVox too, right?
Mhm.
So that's another one that you could join and participate, right? I'm from Uruguay, so Andres, you can even help us organize the event in Spanish. How about that, right? Okay, so that's cool.
Well, I think Nikita is insinuating or suggesting that it might be a Devox Brazil or something of that sort.
Oh,
Devox like
no, no,
event in
no,
English.
yeah, no, it has nothing. It has nothing to do with DevVox. Oh, now I got it right. Okay, no, has nothing to do with DevVox, Nikita. No, 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 no. Let me just clarify here, because I don't want to mix two different events, right? So no, it has nothing to do with DevVox, right? It's an awesome event, by the way. All you guys should participate. DevVox happens in many different places, right?
Well, the
Okay,
next one's happening in May in the UK. I can
cool.
actually share some details whilst we are chatting with our fantastic community guests.
All right, and TDC. I can talk about this later today, but TDC is gonna have a call for papers open until Sunday, right? So, Money, if you want to submit anything, Tila, if you want to submit anything, um, the call for papers open until Monday, and for the first TDC of the year, right? So that's going to happen in March, and it's a hybrid event, so you guys can speak remotely if you want to. All right, so great, Andres. So we have some opportunities, and we participate with us here, Andres, because the plan is that we can come and help you, right? That's why we're asking you to go, right? If you come to every one of our sessions during the year, you can come here and ask questions, right? You're going to be trying to do things. You're going to be trying to make more money. You're going to be trying to go to an event, right? So you come to the sessions, you ask questions, and we're going to think together with you what's the next step, right? Because if we do this, if every 15 days we meet here and you ask a question about, I tried to do this, didn't work, what's my next thing I should try, and we keep doing this, the chance that you get to where you want, Nikita, Andres, all of us here, right, is going to be great, right? So keep this in mind, bring it back every time, right? So, okay, so now my goal for this year, right? So, what I want to tell you guys in the end of the year is that I double the number of people that I'm helping, right? In all categories, right? Double the number of people on social media, right? Double the number of people that I can help on my newsletter or my mentoring program, whatever, right? So I want to go because I think this year is a year that's a lot of developers are very worried about, right? So the year started, as you guys know very well, the year started with lots of layoffs all over the world, right? Started with some very interesting things around artificial intelligence that got everyone worried about, right? And I even received an email this day, right? So there's this guy that wrote me this long email, and he's from Iran, and he wrote me this long email, and he ends the email like, besides all of that, right? ChatGPT just come on board, so now I'm afraid all the things I'm doing is gonna be for nothing, right? So people are worried, right? If they're right or being worried or wrong, doesn't matter. So I want to help you grow your career. I want to help you be, take the next step and do amazing. So, Nikita's asking if I can drink as much coffee, right? So yeah, so that's the goal for this year, Nikita. Let's do this, right? So Java lover from Brazil. This year, my goal is read all emails from Bruno. So Felipe, that's a good goal, right? You're gonna read all my emails from me. But now imagine that if you is putting that as a goal of reading all the emails, how about me that I have to write them, right? Yeah. Nikita saying you could read them and share with your comments. That's great. So your friends can benefit. Yes, that's a good thing to do. Awesome. Thanks, Nikita. Good idea for Felipe. So what else? Let me see here. Then Max says here, I'd like to be working as a developer advocate or in developer relation area by sharing and learning more from the community. Also, I'd like to be more involved in open source contributions. That's the reason why I'm contributing to the JNoSQL project already, right? And I'm going to submit a proposal to TDC. Okay, so Max has lots of goals right there, right? So what do you guys think about Max goals? Is that possible to work on developer relations, open source projects, and speaking all at the same time?
Yeah, I think so. There are people who are doing that, and you can comfortably do that because they kind of slide into each other they blend into each other very easily. Because as a developer relation person, you connect with developers by writing to them or writing for them, and speaking to them at conferences and sharing your knowledge with them by running workshops or writing blog posts or creating short videos and tutorials, and the list goes on. There's this umpteen number of ways to reach out to people and to developers, and all those things he mentioned are different modes through which you can connect with different groups of developers. And sometimes the same developer belongs in all those groups. So
there's one thing here that I want to share with our guest here. So Tila, let me tell you how this thing works. We gotta speak. Don't wait for us to throw the ball at you, because we talk too much, right? So just give your opinion right there, right?
Yes, so Max has got a lot of goals, and if he can do it, so it's I think it's fantastic. And as I know him, he's a very enthusiastic person, and I believe that he can do everything, and he's right with his goals. Yes.
Right. That's cool. Okay, so Max, you're my friend, man. So I don't like to pick on you without, I mean, I think I can pick on you a little bit, Max. But is it okay if I kick you a little bit, Max? Tell me. Because Nikita's talking something here. He says, I'm not saying he shouldn't apply. DevRel is a very rare job with a ton of competition, right? And did he investigate DevRel Mark prior to setting this goal? So Max, I'm gonna assume you're gonna be okay with that, because I'm gonna be light here. But one problem that I have, and I think everyone should evaluate that, and with our goals, right? One problem that I have is that when we have those amazing goals, they're awesome, they're like unique, right? But we already achieved them, right? Because think about it, Max. I know you, man. And you're already saying here on the text, you said, that's why I'm already contributing to the JNoSQL project, right? So, he says, I want to do contribution for open source. You're already doing that, Max. You should say, I want to double my contribution. I want to triple my contribution. I want to, build a goal, Max, that is an energizing, that is a challenging goal that you're going to have to do to run after it, right? And I'm saying this because Max already works as a developer relations. That's Max's jobs today, right? So when he's saying that I want you to do that, maybe he wants to continue to do that. That's great, right? But up the stakes, Max. What is the next thing that you want to do? I would say I'm going to be an international developer relation, non-worldwide, or being a speaker in an international event, representing my company international event. Max, you can do a lot better than you're saying there, man. You are one of the leaders of the largest Java user group in the world, man. You can do you just go after your big dreams.
So I actually want to go back a little bit, rewind a little bit when Bruno was saying about he's going to double the people he's helping.
Mm-hmm.
What he slightly missed out, maybe purposely or mistakenly, of saying that then by doing that, I'm going to half the time I spend on the out-of-the-box developer-like sessions that I run throughout the year, because this is not the only podcast Bruno is involved in. I mean, the list is big, and hence, in the last 6 months, he is a special guest here. He's a special guest on another stage, and he's a special guest with Oracle events. So, that is going to get halved when you're going to be doubling the number of people, unless you have a secret formula.
You're reading this the wrong way, right?
Okay.
Because for me to double the number of people that I'm helping, the out-of-the-box developer has to double the number of people that we reach out, right?
Right.
So I have to put more time here, not less time.
Okay. Right. Sorry. All right. Is that what you're trying to allude? Because I thought you meant you're doubling the number of people you're helping with all the things you're already doing, because you are like, you're like the maestro mentor, and you have your own programs that everybody's a part of. When you're going to be busy with that, then you're going to be a 15-minute special guest here from a 30-minute special guest. So we get a bit worried sometimes.
No, man. It's the other way, right? So I think that's a goal for us, right? So if there's a goal for this group here, that is for us to actually reach more people and be more consistent and actually talk about more interesting topics, all of that, right? So it's our goal here too. So yes, let's double, man. Let's doubling is easy, right? We keep resharing our contribution, bring the feedback. This way you reach more people. Yes, exactly, right? So that's what we want, Nikita. You need to go and share the thing that you learn here. You go share so more people come here for next time. That's exactly what we need.
Okay, so we have an ambassador already, Nikita, who's going to be going out and sharing all the good words that we are sharing here to the rest of the community. All right. Yeah, that's good. Already started with a good start.
Right. Perfect. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to ask Chilla. So Chilla, when you're thinking about your, all those people here have those amazing dreams, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you plan, when you have the dream like those, right? And you want to achieve them. So how do you plan? Do you set time aside to plan, or you just go with the flow? Do you create, how do you do that?
Mm-hmm. I have to plan it. So I just invested some time in it just to plan what I want to achieve this year. And just to list, to write down what I want to do. And that's it. So I really need to have time for this. And it is not just writing down all those goals, concrete goals, what I want to achieve, but the other part is that you need somehow you need to control whether you achieve those goals or you are on the right way. Because if I can have a lot of goals and then then I will look at it in a year and nothing happens. But
Right.
in the meantime, so you have to check it regularly. Am I on the right path? Did I do what I plan to do? And it is also some lot of effort what I didn't bring in so far. But right now, I see that this is something absolutely needed. That you check it, and then you make the next step. Maybe you need to adjust something or go slower or go faster.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna get the opinion of the other guys here also on what you guys do, but there's one thing here that Nikita said I thought is very important that has everything to do with what Tila is saying right now. And Nikita says everything is possible, right? But how much he's ready to sacrifice, right? And so when you say this, like Tila, that you have to set time aside, that you have to focus and write it down and make a plan, and and Mani is also alluding to this, right? If you focus on one thing, you might have to drop other things, right? So what do you guys think about this whole idea of sacrificing, right? So is that a sacrifice that we have to do? Is that when you drop some other things that we wanted and we focus on some things, or when we put extra time on our effort, in a way it is a form of sacrifice, right? We're sacrificing parts of our lives to achieve our goals, right? And is it, I don't know, it's a good discussion, right? So is it worth to do those things? What we need to do to actually be worth to sacrifice other things?
So I think sacrifice is from the sense of, like, the for example, a lot of professionals, especially in the knowledge industry, we need to spend a lot of time outside our work to learn and get better. And so we are kind of sacrificing just little bits of time from our rest, from our family time, from our friends' time, from social time, and many other things, like you've got to do activities and errands as well. Which also means that the from another way of looking at it is, we need to start learning how to do things smartly and efficiently and effectively, as opposed to, I need to do something, but I will spend 6 hours doing something else. Oh no, I have to now do less of those 6 hours because I've got to do something else. But so it's like more like time management, but also effectively doing things, maybe parallels and multitasking, and maybe doing and organizing yourself in a way that you may not even actually have to sacrifice sometimes or give up on doing something, because you've just organized yourself and smartly done things, as opposed to how you would have done in the past.
Right.
So that's kind of how I would say. It is not necessarily possible for everybody, so I'm not saying that you don't have to sacrifice or you won't be sacrificing. You would be, but as depending on how passionate you are about what you want to achieve, your mind works in such a way that you automatically find ways around everything else that you're doing. Right? Instead of doing something every week that you're doing or every day you're doing, you could reduce it, and in that time that you get, you can do something else, right? And you could take rests at certain times when you have the time, so then that way you don't have to say that so if you have less sleep, for example, then that's compensated because you're taking rest at another time, right? So things like that. People do like power naps, for example, I think in at least in Portugal, and maybe in other, even probably in Brazil as well, you have the siesta culture, right? So you're not actually sacrificing. It may seem you're spending a lot of time doing something and not doing something, but actually the whole effect of it is you're rebooting and reboosting your productivity cycle. So when we then start looking at things in that fashion, then it may not appear like a sacrifice. And it is actually, for a lot of people, it's autopilot. Like, I'm sure Scylla must be saying all these things and describing, but when she's in the mode and process of doing it, she doesn't have a recollection of all the steps in process. It's autopilot. It's already been done. You don't have that feeling of I sacrifice this. Like, for example, I don't have. It's like it's all seamless for me. Every 2 weeks we're here, we're sharing, and then I have to be on another session somewhere else. Then I'm talking to my mentors, mentees, and mentors as well, and then doing my own social thing, then doing my online and open source thing. It's all very seamless because I now find pockets of time. I manage it, and I don't spend too much time doing something where all the time goes away. Then you cannot say, oh, you don't have the time, because you actually have the time. It's just how you effectively manage and use your time. So that's my view of it. It's not easy. I'm not saying I do it very well and I'm like super expert at it, but I'm getting better with more and more things that are coming to my plate, and how my passion and ambitions are getting geared towards the things I want to achieve. I automatically juggle and adjust and do things, right? I can give you an example. For example, if I have to buy something and it's far away, I don't take the bus or the tube or the train. I'll walk to that place if it's a walkable distance. By doing that, I do my exercise of the step count, but I also get to the destination, buy my whatever I want to buy, and I'm back, right? So it's like two birds in one stroke, is in one shot and stuff. I could also take the bus and go. Then it'll cost me money. I'll save time, but then I haven't got the exercise that I would have want to get. So things like that. So how you combine 2 or 3 things or more than one thing together, and then still achieve all of them, and still effectively use your time and your goal, and reach most of your goals, if not all.
Yeah, but my point of view of this is we are all prioritizing things, right? It's when I say sacrifice, you're saying, oh, we need to choose what we are put on the top of our prioritizations, and that's the point. When we think about what we need to do, we say, oh, if I don't do it today, I need to prioritize this to do it. Like, oh, I need to study more, for example. Let me think about, I need to study about Java or cloud, because there is something I need to study. There is always something we need to study. And they say, okay, when are you going to study it? And that's the point. That's the way. That's where we start to time manage things. So okay, I need to prioritize when I can. I cannot do it during my work job. For example, let's take this as a premise, and I say, okay, so I need to put this in my free time, and then I need to prioritize this. When in my free time I can put the study. Then I will put my Netflix time. I would do this in my cell phone time. I would use my then we can start using, like Manny said, I need to go to gym and make my walking in the gym, and say, oh, during this moment I can start listening something important as well, and then we can start doing making our time manage more productive, right? But we are always choosing. And I think when we set a goal that we know that is important, we are putting this goal as a priority in top of priorities, and then we can choose wherever is below this priority. We can just take the last one priority and take it away. Maxi was saying here, having a good life balance is important. Yes, having a good life balance is very, very important. For example, when we choose our prioritization, say, oh, my family is priority. Yeah, my family is priority. So that I need to put my family in the priority here. I need to put my goal priority here, and organize time management this to make it work for my goal and for my family, right? I think this is This is the most important part for me. We need to find out what is our priorities, and then we'll work on the time, because we all have 24 hours of time, right? We all have. We don't. There's no one who has less or more than that. It's just how we organize it.
Right. And I think that's
Yeah,
the point that Max is making here, that I think is very important when he says that having a good life balance is important, right? And lots of people call it a work-life balance, right? And I prefer what Max just wrote here is not work-life balance, because your life is just one life, right? So it's just life balance, right? And I think that when you're thinking about your year, right? I even wrote a little book that explains exactly that. So when you think about your year, I think you should not plan or just think about only about your career, about your job, right? This is important. Of course it is, right? But it is your career, it is financial, it is your hobbies, is your friends, is your family, right? There's all those things, is your spirituality, right? Is your health. All those things have to be looked at, right? And so then you should have goals for all of those things, right? You should have objectives in all those areas. And some objectives might be more important than others. That's okay, right? It's very normal. For example, let's say you have a new kid, right? You have a newborn in your family, right? And then it's reasonable that year that's going to be a big focus of your life, right? And and sometimes maybe I was talking earlier today. Me and Pedro were talking earlier today with someone that's that's not married yet, that doesn't have kids yet, right? And so it's reasonable that in that situation you can decide that, yes, man, I don't have to have focus on my family right now. I'm going to have focus on my health, or on my career, or on my financials, right? So I mean, there's different moments in life where we can have different focus, but that's one life, guys. So you should analyze your life completely with all those things, right? Because this and that's what I think what Max is calling about, right? Having like a good life balance, and it's all about priorities, right? And so if you don't have a plan, I mean, not even a plan, if you don't have goals, right? If you don't have an objective, then it's very easy that you just kind of, Manny is talking about being effective, right? It's very easy that you're not effective. I'm sure I've done this many times, and I'm sure all of you have done too, where you have like a very hard job or a very hard project, for example, or or your work or something like this, and then you spend the whole day, right, doing work, not doing what needs to be done because you're afraid, because you don't know, because and then you procrastinate, and then you don't finish, and all of that, right? So, and then when you get to the end of the day, then you have to do it, and then you stay late working on things, right? And then your family's like, so you might do this for weeks or months, right? And then your family's like, come on, you're leaving us aside just for your career. And it's not even true, right? You're not leaving them aside for your career, because you're leaving them aside for your fears, right? You're afraid of doing what needs to be done on the time that should be done, right? And then you have to work late, you have to work on weekends, and you're actually damaging, not because it's not even a sacrifice, it's it's actually the opposite of sacrifice, I guess, right? So it's just throwing your family under the bus, I guess, right? And so when you talk about sacrifices, that we are sacrificing maybe a desire, or maybe something that we wanted to do, or something that we have, right? We're sacrificing something for a greater good, for a greater result, right? So that's why we call sacrifice, right? Because we're losing, let's say, losing something, because we're using that to achieve or to focus on a bigger thing, right? More important thing. And so there's a lot of things that we can sacrifice in our lives. So we can sacrifice our Netflix time, like Pedro said, right? That should be easy, right? Why not? Oh, but well, Bruno, but I want entertainment. Yeah, you want entertainment. So go walk in the mountains with your family, right? So then you're with your family doing something together with them that is fun, that is healthy, and you see, think about your highest objectives, guys, and put those as the big goals, because once you have that, it's amazing.
I think that was a great question because it pressed all the buttons or many buttons in Bruno to give out all those things he shares with his mentees on his program. And we are getting an hour of free, high quality advice and feedback from Bruno. So we are very fortunate in that sense.
Thank you very much, Manny. Thanks very much. And there's some good ideas here from people, guys. So Nikita says, how about actually when you talk about money that you go walk, right? You do health, right? But he says that when you walk to the store, you might decide to cancel the purchase, right? So
well, it happens sometimes. I walk all the way to the store and they don't have it, so I got to go somewhere else or return back and come up with an alternative plan. But it's not a loss. I've spent that time. I got half of the thing. The other half can happen in another moment, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
you got to have a plan B sometimes. Sometimes you don't.
Yeah. But then he says it's good for health and good for budget, right? So
absolutely, because
right.
it does save. It does save. If every other day he had to do this, it does save on a long period of time. It does save enough money to buy something for a whole week or maybe for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So then Andre says, run while listening to podcasts, right? Or walk the dog while listening to podcasts, right? So we have a good friend of ours that's Scott Wirshan, and Scott does that a lot, right? So he goes walk his dogs and listen to podcasts or even have conversations. I used to do this a lot. That that I would just kind of walk the dogs, for example, and do a meeting, right? And you can participate, you can discuss things and everything. And then another thing, we had this friend of ours, this guy that worked with me, Rodrigo, right? So I had this drive that I had to do once a week. There's far away and lots of traffic. So I would call Rodrigo. I said, Rodrigo, that's the time for our meeting, right? So I would call him, and so we'd for 2 hours, right? We'd have discussions on what we're gonna do, the things that need to be done, decide on goals, decide on plans, right? And it's kind of using the time, right? And then Andre says one more thing here, says my Netflix time is with my family. Okay, so that's good, right? So yeah, if you're using Netflix as a way to have a family time, right? And then maybe do a popcorn, right? And then if it's a cold day, kind of you get everyone in the sofa under the blankets, for example, right? And maybe you have a discussion what you want to watch. I mean, so that is actually turning a low quality activity like watching Netflix in a high quality activity, because it's now time with the family, right? So yeah. Okay, so Felipe says, at the moment, my hardest job is to manage my time. Sometimes I think that's impossible, right? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, but say.
Go ahead, yeah, Pedro. I'm still thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. If you're saying that about time in the job or time overall, right? When I talk about time in the job, most of the time we can have lots of discussion about it, because we know that there are lots of things that make our time in the job really difficult, like in many meetings, or you cannot focus on what you're doing. Like if you're as developers, for example, sometimes we need to focus to do our jobs, and we are getting interrupted many times, and this is really difficult. Right? And I think Silas agree with me, right?
Yes, I know this. I know this very well.
Yeah, we all know. I think I use, for example, for this specific case, we call it a focus time. We put this in the calendar and say, oh, now it's focus time. I will get this 1 hour focus, and please nobody. And it appears in the Slack, for example. So people say, oh, you are in a focus time, and then but of course it's difficult if you put all your time in focus time. It's almost never is focus time, right? Because because everybody will need to get to you and say, oh, you are in a focus time or not, can I talk? And then we can always talk because you put every time all the time in this. But sometimes it's important to put some in the schedule, like I need to finish this job for 2 days ahead, and I need to put the time in the calendar saying, oh, I will use this time to finish that job. And my job, for example, is sometimes is there are parts of the job that I can do, like I can do part today but I cannot finish because we need to wait for someone, etc. And this is we always need to work well with our calendars. I think if we learn to work with our calendars and allocating time, putting for what is important, or sometimes discussing about meetings if you don't need to be there, and you can it's something that will help you on the job, I can say.
Yeah, he does say here that's overall family, job, personal things. So
Oh,
everything.
yeah. But I can say that calendar is helping me on my personal job, personal life as well, like putting all the meetings I have, all the medical appointments, all the family stuff. For example, I put that is something that I do with my daughter, that I just at some moments that she has like classes, like theater classes and etc. For example, this Saturday meetings, we have Saturday meetings, right? And this Saturday meet is in the exactly same time of my daughter theater classes,
Mhm.
acting classes, like I said. And but I take her there. She went to the class. I started the Saturday meeting. When the Saturday meeting finished, she is finishing her classes. So that's what many say, that we need to put everything, use our time very productive. And I can say that my daughter loves it. She said to me, "Oh, that I love when our Saturdays because we spend our Saturday together." And even so we are using part of this time to our
Yeah.
meetings here, so
It's
well.
funny, right? Sometimes that's the perception, right? Just because you're there, you take her, right? And then and so yeah, and sometimes we think, oh, because I really need to spend more time with my, especially kids, guys. If you have kids, anyone that has kids know that, oh, I need to spend more time with my kids, right? Now the question is, do your kids want to spend more time with you, right? Because sometimes they don't, right? So actually just being there with them, taking them to where they want to go, right? And being able to have a discussion and watching something, sometimes that's the time that they want to spend with you, and just enjoy that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Yeah, Sila, you had something to say as well. You've been quiet, so why don't you chime in a little bit and contribute to this discussion as well?
Yes, so I was just listening to Pedro when he mentioned this, focus time, and I think it's very important to have those focus times. So I also try to put it into my calendar, for example, and sometimes I'm successful with it, but not all the time. It's also depending on the culture in your company. And in our company, for example, a culture is you are always interruptible.
Mhm.
And then in this way, you are losing a lot of focus. And you need to find a way also when you are working parallelly in several projects and you get all those demands, how you deal with this. And this really has something to do with time management and focus, and maybe be a little bit of egoist and saying, okay, this time is for this project, this time is for that project. No, I am doing this, and then overall I am more efficient than if I'm doing everything at the same time. So me too, I'm struggling sometimes with all those interrupts and then regaining my focus all the time. So it's a difficult subject. So I agree.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
think
So,
yeah,
so
I think saying all of this, everybody's actually given hints about the reason behind their feeling of lack of time, right? So I actually have started using Slack, and I actually there's a way you can pause your notifications for an hour or 2 hours, and I do that very regularly because a notification actually takes away your concentration. You're in a
Yes.
meeting and a notification comes. You're working, a notification comes. So I pause it regularly for 1 hour, 2 hours. Yeah, and my phone is always on mute whenever I'm working, right? Because no notification wakes me up or disturbs my concentration. And so time is actually lost, or the feeling that you're not able to manage time is actually because focus and concentration, and also how we go about doing our things, like how we break problems down into smaller pieces, how we solve problems. Because time is lost if we try to solve a problem the long-winded way, but time is gained when you try to do things that buys time for the future effectively, right? So it may seem you're spending a lot of time, but you're actually buying, like, one closest example we can give is writing tests, and even more specifically writing tests using TDD, right? We all know the story, right? The opposite party will say you're spending so much time, but they're not understanding you're actually investing time which will reap fruits right after you've finished the 80% of the efforts you've done. Then you'll only have to put 20% efforts every time to do more stuff. So you see, a team that does work effectively like this, where they understand the problem, slice the problem into layers that they attend to and prioritize first, and then attend the other layers later on. It so happens that the later on layers, which seemed harder, actually are now quicker to finish because you've already invested 40 to 60 to 80% of your time initially to build the foundation, which seemed long and which seemed maybe redundant for some people, but actually it pays off benefits because the last 20% is finished faster than the first 20%, right? So for the ones who feel struggle, you want to step back and see what is the struggle. Is it because I'm doing something in a different way than I should be doing? Then many others do it differently. How do the others do it, right? Am I not having focus and concentration when I'm doing things? Okay, what is taking away my focus and concentration? What is stopping me from solving a problem in a more effective way? Or can I do this more effectively or more efficiently? Because all of that has to do with gaining or losing time. This is what I feel. Because, loss of focus and concentration is loss of time immediately, right? Because it takes you a whole amount of time to build up that focus and concentration. And one notification, which only takes a millisecond to take away those 25 minutes of concentration that you've put in, right? You got to build up again. And that second attempt of building of concentration, the quality may not be the same as the first one, right? So so on and so forth. So when people are saying these things, then try to observe what's in your life that's actually taking away that time, that's making you struggle for time. And I'm not an expert again on these things. I have similar things, so I adopt various different methods. I have to-do lists. I've got a paper to-do list. I switch off notifications. I do all kinds of small tricks. I don't spend time on social media. You don't see any tweets, Facebook, LinkedIn messages from me. Very rarely. Only when out of the box messages come, they go tweet, 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 and that's it, done. Right? When it's a YouTube video, I'll do that. I spend most of the, even when I'm mentoring my mentees, I'm like, this message, done. Share all the messages to all the people who need to know in one go, and I'm finished. I don't go spending time with each
Nice.
person separately. Right? And I make one person help the other person. I'll say, you talk to that person. I'll tell you talk to that person. I showed that person that. Show that person how to do that. They all are talking to each other, and all the things I showed to one person is now shared across all the several different people.
That's
So
nice.
now I don't have to mentor 5 people on the same topic, which is tedious because everybody understands it differently. But they now are teaching each other.
And they
I only
understand
showed
better.
one link. Yeah,
And they understand better when they teach each other. Yeah.
exactly. And they're building relationships, right there, which is important in today's world of technology. You can't work without talking to people. Like, you cannot be in the silo box like we used to have developers 20 or 30 years ago. One person siloed, writes code, throws it over the desk. The other person has to deal with it, right?
Cool. All right. So just going to say hello to Paulo, right? So Paulo is saying, hello, Bruno. Let's celebrate the birthday of the out-of-the-box developer. Yes. Woohoo!
Woo! Where's the cake?
Time. Yeah. Celebration time. So good, Till, that you are here with us on the celebration day. That's great. Okay. Now, and then Max says it's amazing that Paulo is here with us, right? So that's good, Paulo. Awesome. Had a good conversation with Paulo yesterday. Still ringing in my head, Paulo. Lots of things that we talked about yesterday is good. All right. So then Felipe says, yeah, I think I got the point, right? Discipline, focus is the key, right? So yeah. So here's about the whole thing about discipline, right? Because Felipe uses 2 words that always like sound kind of hurtful in my ears a little bit. One is manage my time, right? And the other one is having discipline, right? Yeah, I do think those things are important. I'm not saying they're not. But the problem that I have is that you don't even do the things that your boss tells you to do, right? So your boss is your manager. He tells you to do things, and you don't even do the things your boss tells you to do, right? It's not enough for your boss to tell you things for you to go and do it. Do you think that just because you told yourself you're going to be magically doing it? That's not how it works, right? We're not a master of ourselves that we can just tell, yes, you go do that. You go do this very hard thing. You go be very disciplined, and then we just magically go and do it, right? So that doesn't happen. So basically, what we need to think about is how can we work with ourselves to get our biggest goals and make them so big, so amazing that we actually want to go do those things, right? And so, because there's going to be lots of hardship on the way, there's going to be lots of difficulty and problems and challenges, right? But then, if all those challenges are not taking us to an amazing place that we're going to go, then we're always going to be fighting and not wanting to do it, right? So that's my suggestion, Felipe. Yes, it is discipline, it is management, it's all that, right? But a little bit of that. But it's a lot of big dreams, right? The bigger your dream, the more chance that you have to go and achieve them, because it's going to be something that you really want to happen. So Felipe says, awesome. I need to talk about this. That's great, Felipe. That's awesome, man. That's what we're here for, to talk with you. Then, to make this happen, right? Okay. So, Pedro, I think we have something else to do here today, right?
For sure. Yeah. I think as to maintain our tradition, right? We in the end of our session. Oh, I know that it's sad to say, oh, we are in the end of the session. No, be calm. We always share some books that we like, that are important books in our lives, or important books that we can use for our year. Some books that will help us during this year. So, Manny, do you want to start?
Yes, why not? So I am sharing the same 2 books that I shared on our very first session And these are my favorite books. You can keep reading them. I've read them twice, each of them. You can keep reading them. They're always telling you different things. They're very abstract, but they're kindling your creativity and your innovation and your innovative ideas. So the first book, Emergence by Stephen Johnson, is a must read. The second book, The Art of Innovation by Tom Kelly, is actually also a very interesting book, and they're kind of related. The reason I'm also sharing the second book is because the people who wrote this book are actually the mentors of Claire Janis, the lady who we have been remembering when the show started. So I met Claire in London at the O'Reilly conference in 2019, I think 2018, 2019. And when I mentioned to her about The Art of Innovation by Tom Kelly, she immediately started saying that actually I know them. I actually follow their principles. They are my mentors. I've been mentored by them. And so I highly recommend reading technology people reading this book, because it's not about just technology. So the people from IDEO are the mentors of late Claire Janis. And so you can understand where all the links from all the material we're sharing on this channel come from. So with that, I'd like to close my share of books for this evening. And I hope that everybody goes to them, reads them, and enjoys them, because they're worth reading multiple times, because there's a lot of great insights in both of these books.
Yes.
Fantastic.
All right. So
Awesome.
visual thinking for information design and the art of innovation. I'm just putting them on screen here really quick so people can see it. So thanks, Money. That's awesome, man. Those are great books.
There's also Emergence by Steve Johnson. I think that's the message before
Yeah.
that.
Oh, okay. So let me
And
get
the
that one.
visual thinking is the Sila one.
Yeah, the one above Sila's.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got.
Yes, that's
I thought
another
it-
one.
No
yes.
worries.
Spoiler,
No worries.
spoiler.
Spoiler. Yes. Spoiler alert. Right. So okay. So yes. All right. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I was just
Yeah,
trying to guide
Emergence.
you.
Emergence is a great book.
All
It's
right,
a
so
great book by Steve Johnson.
Okay,
Stephen
so
Johnson.
emergency, the connect life of ants, brain, cities, and software, and the art of innovation. Awesome, perfect. Thanks, Money. That's great books.
Thanks, Money. Well, and
You wanna go
Sila,
next,
do you...
Pedro?
Sure, I can. Well, I will gonna share my ebook, the Python for Java developers. I think I wrote this one to be a handbook for someone who knows Java and needs to learn Python as fast as is possible. So this was something that I did last year. So I think so if someone in this year has this will have the same difficulty that I had, you can find some help in this book. So that I want to share.
Great,
Hey.
nice share, Pedro. You're full of surprises. I didn't know you wrote a book that blends Python with Java.
Ah, yeah, it's just a handbook, so it's something that is very focused on the problem. It's not a Python beginner's book. No, it's not a complete book. It's just a handbook to help anybody that needs to make this transition.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. Now, tell us, because that's one thing that we always discuss in here is artificial intelligence, right? So tell us about the cover of your book. Because it looks
Oh,
awesome.
sure. Yeah, this cover is very interesting. We were working on the DALI 2 artificial intelligence for OpenAI that creates image, right? And when I was thinking about my book, I just say, oh, it would be awesome if I had some image about a Python uh, who was working or reading or studying something with Java coffee, And then I asked the DALI to, draw this to me, a Python grabbing a cup of coffee, studying in a classroom, and the DALI makes this awesome image, and I say, oh, this is fantastic for my book. It makes many more, so I think this one was the best one, but the others was great too.
Okay, awesome. That's great. So Tila, your turn.
Yeah, so I wanted to share a book here because I'm also working with visualizations, and then I read this book from Colin Ware. This might be book might be for you if you are interested in visualizations, to understand how visual perception works, and why you can choose this or that color. So you gain a lot of background information about this. But I also have to tell you that it is a little bit of a scientific or theoretic book. So you might not be that interested in that if you are more into a more practical book. But for me, it had some interesting insights in it, what I could profit from it. So that's why I brought this book today for you, just to introduce it.
Thank you for sharing with us, Chilla.
That's awesome, Tila. Sorry for the spoiler. Okay, so that's the book. So someone asked about the Pedro's link, right? So it's on the chat, guys. Pedro's book, Tila's book is also in the chat, right? So actually, I forgot to open my book here, right? So I'm just gonna do one more here. So so of course, look, I'm gonna share my book here too, because that's exactly about the topic of this conversation here today, right? It's about planning. It's about building your own life, right? It's so I talk about the 4 steps for you to build, to plan your career, create financial freedom, create freedom from time, from technology, so you can actually have an amazing career. So the book's right there. Actually, if you that's the URL right here, right? So you're just going to go down, right? It's also on the chat. That's the URL. They can just go and grab the book for free, right? So then that's good. That's it.
Great. Well, I think we can wrap up now. So let's talk our final words for today. Can you give us, Sila, first, please?
Mm-hmm.
Our final words.
So for me, it was a very amazing opportunity to be here with you, and I learned also a lot from you, from your insight. So it was awesome experience for me. So thanks for having me here, and yes, I was very glad. And okay, that's it.
Thank you for being with us, Sheila.
Yeah, Tila, you should come back because today, we had this topic about planning and all that. But maybe we should come back to talk about visuals, right? Because you talk about visual thinking and data and all the things that you are specialists at. So let's organize a time that we have that topic, and you can then you can come back to guide us on that awesome field.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great. And you, Money, any final words?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. It was really good to start our new year with the first session that we've finished 16 of them behind us. And we've been able to kind of repeat our first session again, and then start off with a new set of ideas and new pathways into the coming months for this year. And so it feels very inspiring and positive and optimistic for all of us, us sharing and us learning back from the community, and the community learning from us, and they going out and sharing. So I feel this is a great start of the first session that we have completed 1 year of anniversary. I'm really happy and excited, and also great to have Bruno as well for a longer time this time compared to the last sessions we've had, where he had to come in, jet out in 15 minutes, and sometimes he wasn't there for a couple of shows. So it's good to have him back at the anniversary show, which is quite a good sign for us. So thank you for that, and thank you for the audience for constantly being with us and supporting us and churning all the questions and throwing all the questions at us, and creating all the conversations that actually help us help you back.
Yes, thanks, Manny. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. So just one thing I want to tell you guys is that the same way that we are doing a year here and we're planning to grow, I want you guys to plan and grow your career, right? So come with us, stay with us all those times. If we do 16 more, right, this year, and you participate with us in the 16, and if every one of those we can answer your question, we can discuss things. I love the fact that that you guys drove all the discussion, because we're here answering questions all the time. So that's amazing. That's why I love to be here, and it's love to be here with all of you. Thanks a lot, Pedro, for hosting and being here with us. Thanks a lot, Manny. Your partnership for this whole year has been amazing. I think I've said that before, but this whole thing about the out of the box developer, came from a conversation with Manny, and we're just saying, man, we should do something together. And Manny said, stop saying that we should. Come on, let's schedule something, right? And then, okay, so let's do it, right? And then it's not, we changed the name a couple of times to try to get to something, and it's such an amazing. This year for me was very, very special, because I got closer to a lot of you guys, because we've been meeting many times, but especially I got closer to Manny, right? Manny's a good friend. We've known each other for a long time, but we had never had an opportunity to actually do something longer together and know each other more and know the projects, all that. So it has been totally amazing to be here with you, Manny, all this whole time. And I'm talking more to you, Manny, because you were the guy to start with me. Everyone else came later, right? So you were the guy. So actually, we're doing this 1 year, right? So it's 1 year from the first one that we did. So thanks a lot. It's great. But all of you guys are amazing. Tila, thanks a lot. So guys, so let me tell you this. Tila has interviewed me this week, right? And I just love it, right? It was a great interview. We discussed so many cool things, and I'm just waiting for her to announce that she put on Twitter. Not on Twitter, on YouTube, so we can all see that. So Tila, actually, maybe if it's already there, maybe you can put a link here so everyone can go see that interview, and then you officially launch it. I'm not sure if it's there already or not, but yeah. But anyway,
yes.
no pressure. But now, we can do next week. Don't worry, Tila. But thanks a lot. It's great to be here with you having a discussion. But really, guys, I'm very, very happy that you are here watching and asking questions and participating, because that's where the difference makes, right? We are here because you are here, right? So come more with us. And Pedro, thanks a lot, man, for hosting this and being more and more responsible for this whole thing here. So up to you, Pedro, so you can close this year. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you. So thank you, everybody. Listen to me. So, well, thank you for all. Thank you, the audience, and thank you for all the questions. I think today was an awesome one. I think I really enjoyed to be part of this out of the box development since the last three months, and I think we're gonna have this next year in a very good year for us. Thank you, everybody. See you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks,
Ciao.
Thanks,
Bye.
Max, everyone. Thanks, Paulo. Yes. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh my God.